It's good to ask yourself, what is the fuel of my rarity? I had just become aware that the fuel was pain. I was creating pain because it's the only way I knew how to show up.
A lot of artists write beautiful music out of being heartbroken. I've been addicted to chaos. Fuel for me was a chip on my shoulder. Like, I'm gonna go after my dreams.
Being a rare thing, fuel source matters. Remaining authentic matters.
I've sacrificed my authenticity for attachment to my parents, bosses, clients, previous relationships.
It can get really scary and dangerous where the pursuit of the rare thing is at the sacrifice of authenticity for acceptance. But it's all of your parts that has to accept it before anything externally. So when I saw you come back from that, I remember 2 weeks later, I was scared. I had never done any kind of when you talk about psychedelic therapy, people look at you like you're talking about the most hardcore drugs you could ever think of.
Yeah, like you're doing cocaine or heroin or whatever.
It's not what it is at all.
No,
it's a completely different class.
And I think it's unfortunately been labeled with this stigma.
Yeah.
Because there was that documentary that was talking about when people were doing it at Woodstock or in the 60s and 70s. It made people really loving and peaceful. And there are people in the world that can better control others if they are not loving and peaceful. So let's give it a bad rap.
Yeah, which is definitely one of the reasons it got one. It was slightly by design.
Yeah.
Now I remember though when I went into that, I was also in a similar spot where I'd never had panic attacks in my life. I was going through my divorce,
Mm-hmm.
all respect to previous relationship. I would never say anything bad, but I was having panic attacks and I remember I passed out. I remember I was dropping you off at home and Nikki's once. And I had a panic attack so bad, I woke up on the bottom of my truck floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, because my nervous system was just shutting down. I could not handle, I think, life anymore at that point. And when I saw you go to that MDMA and then come back, I was like, whoa. Because at first I was like, is this just an act? Is this coming back from a state control thing? You know what I mean?
Is this just finished with Tony Robbins?
Exactly. Is this a state control thing? Is this a trick? And I know that's it's a supernatural thing most people ask whenever we talk about psychedelic therapy and such. And I know it's not the theme of this right now, but we're going there. But it's rare. But it was such a legitimate and genuine, you looked at things differently. The
furniture in my head moved.
Yeah, you could have the same things happen in your day and you responded instead of reacted in a more elevated manner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went, and it was in that, I remember when I went, I knew at that point, I had just become aware that the fuel of me being rare was pain.
Oh, yeah.
And that the fuel source that I was running, I built my relationships out of pain. I built my business out of pain. I ran to everything that I was doing that was rare. The fuel for my rare was pain. And I didn't know that. And I think it was an actual literal addiction to pain as a fuel source. And so
Absolutely.
Subconsciously, I was creating pain because it's the only way I knew how to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was... pain is a very energetically expensive way to show up to life. And there's a lot of people, it's not really the purpose of why we're doing this thing right now, but for anyone, I think it's good to ask yourself, what is the fuel of my rarity? Right? Because I showed up, I know, and I did that with the nurse and all that, same thing you did. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm addicted to and using and creating pain as my fuel source. I will not go another 10 years like this.
A lot of artists do.
Yeah.
They write beautiful music out of being heartbroken. And then I need to make another album, which gives me this applause and connection. So let me go get my heart broken again. And
Taylor Swift,
I was gonna say Lady Gaga.
Well, at least for the first few albums, but I don't know any.
Yeah.
No. Taylor, you're awesome. If you hear this, let's hang out. No, but I think that's cool. So I remember in that session though, and I remember I started asking God, I was like, first off, are you cool that I'm doing this? Because it kind of freaks me out. I've never done anything like this in my life. And I remember in that session asking, I need help figuring out, I know enough that if I was to remove a fuel source, but not replace it, it's just going to come right back.
You'll replace it with another addiction.
Yeah. And so I remember in that asking myself, I was really asking God, I was like, teach me what my purpose is so I can replace replace purpose for, or replace pain with purpose.
Yeah.
And I remember in that moment hearing very clearly what my purpose is. And it was this like bath of like, oh, finally I found why I should continue to wake up in the morning. But I think what was the hardest part was that, changes, it's not a magic pill. I had to go make changes. It took me 6 months to get unaddicted to pain.
Yeah.
That was weird.
The integration after is very real. It's not a magic pill. When you're talking about addiction, like it took me some time having people around you that can mirror you, that you're safe to mirror back to each other, being able to have our, circle of friends to be able to show like, where are you coping right now? What do you not see? And then because I could have experiences with other people or through therapy or through whatever processing things that I use, I've been able to see if that's what I believed for this long in my life, what other constructs have I unknowingly subscribed to? Remember last week I got so pissed that I was subscribed to some like toothpaste subscription. I was like so mad about it. And I'm like, what else am I subscribed to in my head that I'm not aware of? Well, I've been addicted to chaos as well, because there's this part, I think a fuel for me was like a chip on my shoulder. Like, I'm going to go after my dreams no matter what anyone says, and I'm going to make them, and I'm going to shove it in your face. F you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a big pain for me. So that chaos is an addiction until I'm aware of it, and then can be, okay, what do you replace that with? I think the opposite of addiction is connection.
Yeah.
And
Gabor Mate?
Gabor Mate talks about trading authenticity for attachment.
That's what it is. There we go.
Attachment is another thing that I am definitely, like, I've sacrificed a lot of my authenticity for attachment to my parents, to bosses, to clients, to previous relationships, or even I totally have Fred. Oh gosh, we had a crazy conversation the other day where I admitted.
It's awesome.
I was terrified.
Well, that was a good conversation.
I finally admitted things that I was scared to tell you about my feelings. And it was like things that I was keeping score with, because that's all I've known my whole life. It's what I've seen other people do. It's what we see on television. It's what we see with our parents. It's what we see in movies and other relationships. And so I felt like I'm not allowed to say where I have any emotion that is other than happy, because if I do admit that I'm mad about something, then they'll be mad at me and I won't be able to respond, because I still have this inner child that's afraid to defend, even though it's not a defense, it's a communication, and afraid that if I say how I really feel, will you still love me?
Right.
And I loved that I finally had the ability and freedom and safety to say that to you, and now to have a framework with you that I can be like, I need to say something really hard, and I need to know that no matter what I say, will you still love me on the other side of it? You sure? Okay. Well, here it is.
Yeah.
I'm mad that you were late every day this week.
That's a made-up scenario.
That's a made-up scenario. But like things like that, I was terrified to say.
Sure.
I wasn't terrified of you. I was terrified of losing your love.
Interesting. As if it's something to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the child in me is like,
Keeping score.
keep score, but also if I've been mad at someone in the past that then held that over me and was punitive and made me feel like I was wrong to be mad, you know?
So created a mapping.
Yeah.
An internal mapping.
And then when you realize that you're actually an adult in an adult relationship and you can have a competent conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like relearning so much about
It's so
myself
cool.
right now.
No, I think it's interesting. Is like the being a rare thing and knowing that you are so rare and going after a rare pursuit in life, like fuel source matters. Remaining authentic matters. But I think where it can get really scary and dangerous is where the pursuit of the rare thing is at the sacrifice of authenticity for acceptance. Like when people will just burn themselves out because that's what it means to be, I gotta hustle till I die. And it's like,
Work like a slave.
yeah, it's like, man, it's like the path to whatever it is you're pursuing in your rareness, like fuel source matters, the reason matters, long-term vision matters, and just really having the patience along the way. Because otherwise, yeah, you do sacrifice authenticity for acceptance. But the biggest piece of acceptance you really need, first off, is you're adult to your adult. And then your inner child needs to also accept the adult that you are now and pursuing. Because that's the big lesson I ran into and figured out this last week also, was that my inner child has been rebelling and self-sabotaging because it didn't like how my 36-year-old adult Steve was behaving day to day, just in terms of like schedule. Hey, I just can imagine this little like 8-year-old kid and going, "Can we go play?" Like,
Knocking
you
on the
are
window.
running your face to the ground, guy. Like, I'm in here too. I gotta have time. The inner child needs to come out. Go paint. Go outside. See the sun. Do something different. You've been in front of this computer for 12 hours every day for the last 10 days. I'm going to rebel by making you not be able to sleep, which is what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only sleeping like 3 hours a night for a while. I was like, what is going on? And so I think it's a really important part is like the the fuel of your rarity matters. The purpose behind it matters. Authenticity and your personal acceptance matters. But it's all of your parts inside of you that has to accept it before anything externally. How interesting. Yeah, one of the reasons I'm excited to keep talking about this stuff, though, is because there's an entrepreneur I'm working with right now who is, it's funny, it's like this theme that I'm watching now where the pursuit of rare happens. And for a while, it's all like you're watching all these inner childs kind of like get dismissed just a little bit. And they go get some level of success. And then suddenly it feels like they're losing their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that? It's like they tell you this, and then they have to like reassess who they are, and they have to go back. Why was I born? Why was I created? And I'm noticing there's this pattern where the pursuit of rare has gotten them to a certain spot, but because of the supreme lack of balance in their life, and the inner child doesn't actually know who's in charge anymore, and they're realizing how unattractive hustle culture really is. They have to get back to like this. It's like a reassessment of why was I born?
Mm-hmm.
Which is super normal to do.
Which sounds like the origin story that you just lived. So you're like attracting, you're attracting the people that you're like, oh, I just went through this so I can help you. Or I feel like sometimes if I'm on consulting calls or Q&As or whatever, just talking to people and I'm like repeating the same message over and over, I'm like, I think that there's a message in this for me. There's a reason why I'm getting this so often. Like a recent one was I think I said to like 5 people in the same day, writer's block isn't when you don't have enough to say, it's when you have too much to say. And I was like, I got to start writing again.
That's a good line.
Well, yeah, I kept saying it over and over to people when they were talking. They're trying to figure out like what their content was. Like I do content strategy, and and then I was like, I think the reason why I said that is because it's actually a message for me.
It makes a lot of sense. It's like this natural thing that happens. It's like a callback that happens. You get down the path a certain way, you climb the mountain a certain extent, and then it's funny because I feel like, and I don't know if maybe it's true for everyone, maybe it's not, but for me anyways, it's like I lost vision for a little while, which I just didn't know where to go. It's like I hit another plateau. I wanted to keep climbing the mountain, but the inner child and the soul and my adult self was just like, where are we going next? Oh my gosh. And after finally like figuring that out again, all these other people I didn't realize were also on this plateau are like, how the heck are you doing that? Like how did you refine that? Where'd you find your footing? Where's the trailhead again? I can keep going. And I think that's very normal, especially in the pursuit of being rare, to accidentally become a leader, and some people push it away, but I actually think that it's an accelerant if people can lean into it.
You ever seen that quote that's like, entrepreneurship is like riding a lion. Everyone's pointing up at them saying, look at that guy. He's amazing. He's riding a lion. Meanwhile, you're like, how do I get off of this? And how do I keep it from eating me?
How do I keep it? Yeah. It's a great quote.
I think one of my biggest problems I realized in the last 6 months was expecting that there shouldn't be any.
Lion?
There shouldn't be any lions in business. No, there shouldn't be any problems.
Oh.
My biggest problem was expecting that there shouldn't be any. And then I was so frustrated when there were. And it was like the sky was always falling. And then I realized it was just because I was in this perpetual chase of enough. It's like I was on the treadmill chasing the carrot in front of me and like, why can't I reach it? Like I said to our friend the other day, I was like, I never get to go to the beach. Like the beach is so far away, and we literally have a beach in like
In our
in our
backyard.
backyard. Like she could have hit me, and I'm like, because I'm in the castle counting my shekels when I'll have enough money to go to the beach. Meanwhile, it's like
She's like, you have a beach.
step outside, biatch.
That's funny.
I was just in this illusion.
It's funny chatting with her as well. She was like, well, she said, what makes somebody lose vision?
Mm.
And I said, lack of curiosity. And she goes, well, what fuels curiosity? And I said, the free space to explore. And I think that's another place where like being rare and the pursuit of rare, sometimes I've had to like reassess that it's not a trap, you know, because sometimes it can kind of create, and that's like one of my biggest fears, you know, is traps and cages.
You hate being trapped.
I just don't. Yeah, it freaks me out for some reason. And but because the lack of vision became the cage, I was like, how do I get out of here? Well, the first was to just be like, you know, honestly content with where I was. You know, that's the next place. But then give myself the free space to explore, which meant stop being a workaholic. Isn't that interesting? The very next day, I walked outside, went on a walk, and just started like doing things differently. All these ideas flooded in. Suddenly knew exactly what to do.
Did you forget that you're supposed to have fun while you're doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that too.
It's like the work is too much like grit
Yeah.
instead of passion.